All right, let's take a look at this example. A rectangle is 6 inches longer than it is wide. Numerically, its area exceeds its perimeter by 131 inches. And we're asked to find the perimeter of the rectangle in inches. So let's just take a look at this problem and kind of pull out the information that we're given. We know that the length is 6 inches more than the width. So it's longer than it is wide. So if we let the width of the rectangle be W, then we know that the length is 6 more than W, so it's W plus 6. And again, the length and the width are unknowns here in this problem, so that's why we let these unknowns be represented by variable expressions. Okay, let's see what else we know. The second sentence says numerically its area exceeds its perimeter by 131 inches. So that leads me to believe that I'm going to need to find the area and the perimeter of this rectangle. Well, I know that the area of a rectangle is length times width. And if the area is equal to length times width, that means that the area of the rectangle is equal to W, because we let W be the width, times W plus 6, because we let W plus 6 represent the length. So the area is equal to W times the binomial W plus 6. Distributing the W to simplify this expression would give us the area is equal to W squared plus 6W. The next thing that I need to identify or find is the perimeter of this rectangle. So I know that the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle is just the sum of all the sides. So add all the sides together. So that would give me W plus W plus L plus L. Plugging into my formula would give me W plus W, that would be the sum of the widths, plus we let L be represented by, or the length be represented by W plus 6. So I would add to that W plus 6 plus W plus 6, because that would give me the sum of the two lengths of the rectangle. And then I simplified this expression by combining like terms. W plus W plus W plus W is 4W, and 6 plus 6 is 12. So the perimeter of this rectangle is represented by the expression 4W plus 12. Now that I have a formula for the area, and I have a formula for the perimeter, let's see what else I know about this problem. Well, the second sentence again tells me that the area of this rectangle exceeds the perimeter by 131 inches. Well, if the area exceeds the perimeter by 131 inches, that means that the area is equal to the perimeter plus 131 inches. We can now use this equation to help us solve our problem. If the area is equal to the perimeter plus 131, that means that W squared plus 6W is equal to 4W plus 12 plus 131, because the area is equal to W squared plus 6W, and the perimeter is equal to 4W plus 12. Now I have an equation that only has a variable of W. Let's solve this equation for W. Well, the first question I would ask myself is, what type of an equation is this? Because the highest exponent that I see for the variable that I'm solving for is a 2, that means this is a quadratic equation. To solve a quadratic equation, I get all of my terms on one side of the equal sign and 0 on the other side, and then factor. subtracting 4w from the right, and combining like terms on the right, 12 plus 131, and then subtracting 143 from the right, gives us w squared plus 6w minus 4w minus 143 is equal to 0. Now let's combine like terms on the left. On the left, 6w minus 4w gives us 2w. So the resulting equation is w squared plus 2w minus 143 equals 0. Now we're going to factor the left side of our equation. Okay, so factoring w squared plus 2w minus 143 gives us w plus 13 times w minus 11. Now that I have the left side factored, I can set each of those factors equal to 0 and solve. So that gives us w is equal to negative 13 and w is equal to 11. Now, in the case of an applied problem like this, we have to use some common sense. We know that w represents the length of the rectangle, and we know that a length cannot be negative. So here we say w is equal to negative 13, but that's not an acceptable answer. It's not possible, right? A length can't be a negative number. So then we know the only acceptable answer is that the width of this rectangle must be 11 inches. But that's not the answer to the problem. The problem says find the perimeter of the rectangle in inches. Well, I know that the perimeter is represented by 4w plus 12, so that's 4 times the width plus 12. Well, now I know the width. The width is 11. So the perimeter would be 4 times 11 plus 12. So therefore, the perimeter of the rectangle has to be 56 inches.